Hi all, and welcome to Yoga-Mojo. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and move my harmonium off to the side. And take a moment and take the space. So, friends, thanks again for joining us. I'm going to ask you to take a nice, comfortable Sukhasana. Take a comfortable seated pose where your spine can be nice and long. You might see me kind of adjusting here. I've got a little Brentwood home meditation, Zapu meditation bolster, and I'm going to place it just the base of my spine, so my posterior anterior tilting action. So the posterior action can be shifted into more of an anterior tilt of the pelvic floor, hopefully being a little more comfortable. So as we are here, I'm going to ask that we have our videos off and our speaker off, but at the end, I'm going to ask for us to have a little Mojo community, and we can turn our videos on and turn our speakers on and perhaps even chat a little bit at the end of our practice. But thank you so much for joining. And if this is your first time with Yoga-Mojo, and we do have some folks, this is their first time registering for our online practice, so thank you all. I'm going to suggest if you have blocks at home, grab a block or two, a couple of books, even soup cans. Some of our friends have said soup cans have been working really well. And as well as perhaps a blanket, and this is a little yogi towel I just got, and or a strap, a belt, or even a scarf that can help you. So as we began our practice, I was chanting a mantra for Lakshmi, and Lakshmi is beauty and abundance, but she's also this awareness of the goddess of energy of love. And hearing over the weekend Governor Cuomo, love always wins, and that really kind of struck me, and everything that he was saying about where we are, about love and how love is at the root of everything. And of course that made me think of Lakshmi and the churning of the ocean and the birth of love, and it was like a birth of coming out of dark tones and into the beautiful light. So our vinyasa today is a dedication and was inspired by the awareness of Lakshmi and the story of the churning of the ocean of milk. So thank you again for joining. This is the Vinyasa 1-2, so we're going to bring a little strength into our practice. So I'm going to ask you to please listen to your body. I'll give a number of modifications and adjustment suggestions, but take the practice in a way that truly serves you, and know that you can rest at any time. So let's sit tall, readjust our Sukhasana, and know that if this isn't comfortable with the shins crossed, You can have your legs forward. You can even be lying down if you wish. So we're going to take a few moments to connect with our breath and to find a stillness in our space. So I'm going to place my hands on my thighs. Take a breath in. Let it fill you. And when you let the breath go, if it's comfortable to close the eyes, let those eyelids release on down. If you'd like to take your drishti to a spot ahead of you, feel free to go there, softening the eyes. But making this moment, taking this moment to find the stillness of our physical body. And in this space, the quieting space, where we look to drop in to the rhythm of our own breath. We look to drop into that inner world that is within and give ourselves a few moments of breath connection. So shifting your awareness to the flow and the rhythm of your breath. And before beginning the movement of a sadhana, a practice, the physical aspect, to take time and to center ourselves, to take time to observe the rhythm of our breath, any sensations we might feel in this space, and maybe acknowledge them, sensations, thoughts, and come back to the breath, following the rhythm of the inhale and the exhale. Knowing that it can be challenging to find stillness. The thoughts might be surfacing. But to turn the light on the thoughts, to acknowledge them, not necessarily follow them down that thread, but to come back to the awareness of the breath when we observe that space. The churning of the ocean of milk is a wonderful story. And the motion, that ocean is a representation of our own consciousness, of our own mind, and the churning that we often experience in our minds. And in the story, there's this mountain that's used, Mount Meru, as the apparatus, and it's representative of our own physical body. So to bring ourselves into stillness here, it's a moment. It's like a little gift to let yourself be. Know that in this moment, everything is well. As the next breath flows, perhaps change the rhythm. Let it be a little longer, maybe a sense of depth as you feel that breath. And when you let it go, releasing, allow that thought of the energy flowing down the back body, down into the base of the spine, and letting ourselves feel that connection to the space beneath us. So when you take the next breath, imagine it flows up the front body. And we get a little taller as we lift the head. We can open our eyes, that moment. Find our drishti, a spot ahead of us is our drishti, a focal point like we could take past that space. Then as you inhale again, let's bring our hands to our heart. Take our first mudra, the mudra of Anjali, joining the hand and taking a beautiful bow. As the breath releases, stretching into the back of the neck. We're going to take our hands up into that sun breath. So as you feel your breath, the hands are going to rise up. As those hands go up towards the sky, the shoulders, we can have a nice stretch. We can feel the movement. Let's turn the palms out. Take another breath in. And as you exhale, let those arms float out nice and wide. Let your gaze float down towards the mat, the chin to the chest. And then we're going to repeat that action. We'll turn the palms and inhale. Reaching out and up, taking our sun breath, stretch, and turn the palms and exhale, letting those arms float back wide, back towards the earth, chin to the chest. One more time, let's turn the palms. We have that rotation of the shoulders. Give it an awakening. As the arms go higher and the fingers reach a little more, let's repeat it. Exhale, let those arms float down. Let's go ahead and release again. So when we take this next turn of our palms, we can inhale, reach up again, but use this breath to prepare us to take an easy turn, an easy twist. On your exhale, take a nice turn to your right. Put your hands float down, letting ourselves place the hands perhaps on the thigh, or if it is more comfortable, place that right hand to the space by you or even behind you. Feel the next breath Taking those back fingers, gently pressing down, create a little lift in the vertebra and the spine. And then you're exhaling. If it's there and it's again comfortable, it's not the deepest twist we've ever had. We're just awakening. We're feeling the movement of the back, the side, the front. Let's take a turn now of our head, slowly moving just the head. Feeling the movement of the head as it crosses the midline, taking that gaze now over towards the left. And then when we release the breath, we can feel the weight of the shoulders relax, and maybe the chin floats down towards that shoulder. We're going to come back into center, taking that left palm up and sweeping it across. Right arm is going to rise up as well, and both arms are going to be here at the height of our shoulders. The palms will turn up, the thumbs might turn down, the gaze might lift. And from this space, let's exhale and draw the navel in and up as you spin the palms down, even perhaps pointing back, and some might even feel the rotation of the palms up. We're going to turn the palms, try not to cave in the front body, and feel the breath release. Let's reach those arms as we inhale, taking that reach again. And then taking that easy turn now towards the left. And we turn towards the left. And we might pause, particularly if we start to feel resistance. And then maybe we separate the hands, supporting ourselves in the spine, the back fingers if they're connecting the mat or the bolster, which you might be on. Feel the gentle press down to try to create that lift. And on the exhale, if it's comfortable to move the ribs to feel the shifting energy, anchor to the sits bones, trying to keep that pelvis nice and balanced, nice and level. An awakening space. Let's turn the head now on a breath in. We're going to start to turn our gaze, moving the head. So we've got these 7 vertebrae in our neck, and we're feeling a nice turn of them. And when we release the chin, as we let the breath go and the gaze might shift down, there's an opportunity to move into that stretch of our neck muscles. Let's come back into center. Right palm's going to rise up, left arm's going to rise up. We open up through the front body again, and you might lift the gaze up, feeling the throat open. Let's spin those palms, rotating them. As we rotate the palms even back now, let's sweep the hands back a little bit. Mindfully bend the elbows and lace our fingers. I'm going to feel the shoulders, try to draw back those shoulder heads, and then relax the shoulders down. Try to lengthen the arms by taking the hands down towards the mat, and then maybe a little bit off of our back body. So we've got a huge adduction of the shoulders. So think of squeezing towards the center line, that midline with the scapula. Our shoulder blades on the back body. And then when you're letting the breath go, gently release that mind. Let's circle the arms again, give that full range of motion of our shoulders, and then let those hands float back to our heart space. Nice. I'm going to ask us to release that and change. Feel that movement of giving yourself a moment to change your Sukhasana and come into a different form. Now I have my right foot closer. I'm going to take my right foot farther away and bring my left foot in a little closer, and then reset a Sukha. Letting ourselves reset and holding the space for just a little bit so that we can even awaken our side body. Let's circle those arms again. Breathe in. And as you exhale, take a beautiful lean over to the right. Now I have my palms touching. Let's all separate. Imagine we're squeezing a block here and roll the left shoulder. Turn your gaze towards the mat, and as you exhale a breath, watch as that right hand floats down. We're going to gently press into that right hand, anchor into the left sits bone. Roll open that beautiful left shoulder, and then exhale, maybe move more deeply. Let's take another breath again. And as you exhale, take a little C curve, taking that left palm down towards the earth, maybe stretching the right leg or that right arm, I should say. Inhale, open up again. And on the exhale, awesome. We're going to go into that space. And let's bring ourselves back up, taking that great reach back to the sky. Let's take that same action now towards the left. We're going to take a beautiful side bend. You might pause here, feel a breath wave, separate the palms. Let ourselves turn the gaze and release that left hand, fingertips to the palm. We might feel a breath and kind of open up through the heart, relaxing that left shoulder, finding the release. Feel another breath wave, maybe press the hand. Take the C curve. So rolling a little bit. I like to lift and lengthen that left side as I make that curve action. And then open up again, reaching all the way back. And if it's there for you to go more deeply into the space, left forearm coming down, right fingers reaching, we'll contract that right side, turn that left palm, bring ourselves back up. And then let's motion the hands back a little bit. I'm going to bring in a pose that is called Varahasana. It is the boar pose. And it is one that I bring in because the boar pose represents a Vishnu. Let's bend those elbows now. And in the boar pose, we bend the elbows like this and they become his tusk. So we try to lift the elbows up. We get a nice stretch through the side body, into the serratus and into the latissimus. And we can just observe how that feels. So be kind, the shoulders can be relaxed, elbows don't have to come all the way to the sky. It's our range of motion. So let's go ahead and open up the elbows and observe this space. Now I'm gonna interlace my hands. And as I have my fingers interlaced behind my head, here's a nice curve here of the occiput. Give it a nice little massage. Because a number of the neck muscles attach to the base of our skull, so it's like a really nice space. Then open up the elbows nice and wide and try to take the elbows back a little bit. Then we're going to counter that by drawing the elbows in, giving our space here. And we're going to open up the elbows again, squeeze at the shoulder blade, and let's lengthen the arms. Breathe in, let the arms go back up to the sky. So we're going to find this action where we bend the elbows, exhale the breath, and find the space where it kind of opens up the whole front body. Let's inhale, reach to the sky. And on the exhale, bring our hands on back to our heart space, back to Anjali. Nice. Let's go ahead and release that space for a moment. Again, adjust. One other mudra that I'm going to bring into our practice today is the awareness of the Padma mudra. And the Padma mudra is one of Lakshmi's, or often associated with Lakshmi. In this space, we'll return our hands to Anjali, and then we open up the fingers, separating the fingers from each other. So the thumbs, outer edges stay connected, and the little fingers stay connected. But the index, middle, and ring fingers separate, and we create the beautiful lotus, the Padma in Sanskrit. And in the story, Lakshmi rises up out of the ocean. So there's a space in our practice. We're going to lift up this beautiful mudra. We're going to bring our hands toward each other, bend our elbows, bring our arms back up into that beautiful lotus mudra, and exhale, bring it all the way back into our hearts and perhaps even into the space of Anjali. Awesome. Let's go ahead and come into the pose of our tabletop now. So take your time, opening up the space again, maybe stretching the legs long here, wiggling the feet, whatever feels really comfortable before you set up your tabletop. So tabletop is our hands and knees. I'm going to scoot off, take my bolster here, over to the side, and grab a sukha mat. Now, if you don't have a sukha mat, feel free, if you would like to have some padding under your knees, to grab a blanket, to grab a towel, and then place our hands beneath our shoulders. So I'm going to place my hands beneath my shoulders, knees beneath the hips, and we're in a great tabletop. Let's feel the breath and move through the cow. Let's inhale, taking the heart forward, gaze forward, maybe the tailbone feels a sense of lift. And as you exhale, drawing the navel in and up, tailbone is going to release down towards the knee, to chin to our chest. Let's repeat that action. Inhale, moving into the lumbar curve, creating a bit of a back bend, and exhaling, drawing the navel in, creating that lift. Now think of hugging the inner thighs in, tops of the feet press gently. Let's repeat it. Inhale. Nice smooth breath in, and exhaling, drawing the navel in and up into a neutral spine. As you feel the next breath, we'll arrive at our neutral spine. But take a moment to claw the fingertips, feeling that little bit of an arch in the center of our hands, and hug the arms in towards each other. Give ourselves stability to lift up this right leg. And as we awaken the right leg, the right side, the heels up, the toes are down. We're going to feel the lift of that right leg a little higher, and then slowly release the toes down to the mat and start to take a movement back, shifting that energy through the heel. As you pause in the space, feeling the breath, stressing into that Achilles, let's shift forward, lift up the right leg, and then exhale, bringing that knee up towards the heart, up towards the nose. Let's repeat that. Inhale, we'll reach for the heel, gaze will come forward. Here's number 2. Exhale, hugging that knee in and up. We'll inhale, take the leg long, and exhale. It doesn't matter how high. Someone asked us to take that knee to the side. Feel a breath, inhale, maybe to the side, and some of our friends will bring that knee forward. Let's go ahead and exhale, bring it back into center. Let's repeat it. Inhale, up to the side a little or a lot. Exhale, we're gonna bring it back in. Inhale, the shoulders stay balanced and steady. Exhale, we'll bring that knee in and maybe even cross it now to the left. Let's take the right leg beautifully long, reaching through the heel. Point the toes for a moment, and let's bring the knee down to the mat. Curling those toes under, let's walk our hands off the heels of our hands and the palms of our hands. Give ourselves a little massage, awakening those carpal bones in our wrists. And as we awaken the carpal bones, I'm going to ask us to come onto the distal point of our femur bones. Let's come up to those knees, keeping those toes curled under. Inhale, Let those arms reach, and here we go. We're gonna take those hands back and take the action of the hands coming to the back and the elbows coming up. Perfect. We're gonna take our breath in, reach our arms up, uncurl the toes here, and slowly bring ourselves down the midline so we can walk our hands back. Take that same awakening sequence onto that left side. We'll set the hands, and no stress on the fingers, even slide the little finger in a little bit, lifting up that left leg. We get a nice reach for the heel, the toes are down, the breath will flow in. And as we hold in this space, you might lift that left leg a little higher, and then release all 5 toes down to the mat and take a movement of energy back. So an intentional stressing of the Achilles. And then Achilles supports the calf as well, so we're kind of awakening the calf. Let's shift our heart forward, lift up this left leg, and bring the knee in. Let's exhale. Here it is, 1. We'll take that leg nice and long, and 2. Might come a little higher. Take the leg nice and long. Here's number 3. Exhale. We'll lift it to the side and or forward, and sweep it back in. Here's 2. Lifting to the side, breath is in. Exhale, breath comes out. Inhale, lift the knee, maybe shift it. Exhale, draw it in, maybe even cross it to the right. Let's take that left leg nice and long, take our breath, point the toes back, spin the outer edge down, and then release our knee down to the mat. Nice. I'm gonna ask us to come to our forearms, placing a forearm down to the mat, then the other forearm. Let's turn the palms down. So awakening these shoulders a little bit. Start to rock your hips back. So it's not really the pose of a child. So I'm gonna ask us to bring our palms towards each other, lift our forearms, and release our head. Now friends, if you happen to have a couple of blocks, you might take your blocks or your books, whatever might give you a little bit of a lift, place those elbows on it, return your hands to palms touching, shift back, and slowly release your head between those upper arms again. Bringing the hands up and over so the fingers are pointing back towards the base of our spine. Hug your arms in gently. Gently try to press down into your elbows and just to notice and observe the sensations. You might even try to take your hips back a little bit. Feel the low ribs draw in. And again, simply observe the sensations of bringing movement into some of these side body muscles, front body and back. We're going to lift our gaze, bring ourselves back up. And again, if we have the blocks, we can take those blocks off to the side. If we were on our forearms taking this, we can come on back and stretch our right leg. Let's take the right leg back, set the toes down, gently press down, hug everything in. Let's take the left foot back. So the left leg goes long and we're holding a beautiful forearm plank. As we hold our forearm plank, know that the knees can come down at any time. And the knees can come down throughout the practice. Any version of plank, any of the actions, know that this can be done on the knees. As we hold our forearm plank, the heels are back, the core is strong, hips might lift a little bit, and then we'll bring our knees down, uncurl the toes, and move into the beautiful space. So I'm gonna lift my Sukha mat, place my Sukha mat off to the side, and return to my space. Taking the toes back, spinning the little toes down, and then scrubbing the forearms back to get a little bit more length. Let's take a breath, open up our elbows, and slide our hands by the chest. Sliding the hands back by the chest, we feel that connection. Taking the shoulder heads up a little bit, letting the elbows hug in a little bit, and then moving through the cobra. Let's breathe in and let ourselves float on down. The Sanskrit word is Bhujangasana, the serpent. So here we go, we lift up number 2. We're gonna exhale. Now I like to do things 3 times, so let's go ahead and do number 3. And this is our 1-2 class. Hold the pose for a moment. Observe your low back. Maybe you come up onto your fingertips. The low back muscles will contract if you're taking your hands off of the mat. Let's slowly release on down and move into the up dog. I'm going to take my heart forward, lengthen the arms, mindfully press the tops of the feet to lift up the kneecaps, opening the collarbone, and then exhaling the down dog. Now you might bring your knees to the mat, curl your toes under, rock your hips up, lengthen your legs. Wherever that journey took you, begin to move a little bit. The walking of the dog, the shifting of the energy, the lifting of the heel, the bending of a knee, the dipping of the shoulders are all great actions. And then we're going to slow that action down, find stillness. Find the pose of Adho Mukha Svanasana and let ourselves take any adjustments. Rooting down into the index fingers, the knuckles of our index fingers, the base of our thumbs, feeling the sensation of full strength, hugging the upper arms in like the biceps could roll up and out. Let's lift our heels, really flexing the toes, giving our hips an opportunity to lift a little higher. Gently bend the knees for a moment, and then lengthen the legs again. And then we can exhale, release our heels towards the earth. Our gaze will come forward, we'll bend the knees, step, jump, walk, float, hop those feet toward the top of the mat. And as you arrive, a forward fold that serves your practice. Now we might bend the knees a little bit, releasing some of the tension or tightness you might feel in the hamstrings. Some of our friends have a range of motion in their hips, length that they can release their hands down to the earth. But again, be kind. Block can be used as well. Let's take a half fold, rooting down into the mounds of our big toes, sliding our hands up to the top of our shins. Gently rock your hips forward so that hips are over our ankles. The chest, sternum is coming forward. And then as you're exhaling, we'll hinge on the hips, releasing our head towards the earth and fold. Let's bend our knees and rise. Circle your arms, reach up to the sky, extension of our mountain, and the exhale brings our hands to our hearts. We can close our eyes and take a moment to pause, to check in. A huge awakening series of asanas that awaken the bones and the muscles and the joints of our physical body. And as a moment to come into that breath awareness and how we move with our breath. In this space when we find stillness and steadiness and Tadasana, the pose of the mountain, a moment to return to own rhythm of our breath and to set an intention for our practice. A wish or a desire that you might have for this practice is your intention, is your sankalpa. Maybe it comes into your mind that you can hold it like a little mantra, something that you can repeat or come to over and over again. Let's feel the next breath. Root down into the feet, and counter energy will rise, uplifting the crown of the head. Our eyes will open. Our exhale releases our hands of our mudra of Anjali. We're going to begin to co-create our vinyasa. And this is, again, an awareness of Lakshmi. It's going to begin with the pose of the chair. So we'll circle our arms and then bend those knees. Now the booty is going back. We might see the toes just past our knees, finding the flexion of our knees and the hips, keeping the core strong. We'll try to hug the inner thighs as we root down. Feel the next breath, go a little deeper. Take another breath, lifting up the heart, lifting up the gaze. And as you exhale, ribs to thighs, floating down, forward fold. Half fold, Ardha Uttanasana. Then ask us to move to plank. So we're taking a vinyasa flow here, of course, and we're coming into a plank. I'm going to ask us to hold our plank, reminding that anytime we can bring those knees to the mat as we move through the flow to down dog. Some of us will take a little bend and take a beautiful supported chaturanga. Inhale, an up dog or cobra, and then exhale, downward facing dog. So a vinyasa sequence that'll take us back to the space of our Adho Mukha Svanasana, the pose of down dog. Let's lift our right leg and take that reach to the sky. As we add on, we're going to balance the shoulders, try to lift the right leg higher. Then exhale, knee to heart. As we hold the knee, we feel the breath. Maybe that knee lifts to the side or to the tricep. Left knee can come down if needed. Let's bring that right knee in. If you choose, cross it. Awesome. Let's take the right leg all the way back up. Left heel goes down. Our gaze comes forward. We're going to step. We're going to step that right foot between the hands and pause. Come lighter on the fingertips, power through the left heel, and then shift that left heel down, taking the left toes to about a 45. You're still kind of pointing forward. Lengthen through the spine, root into that right big toe, rise up with that right knee over your ankle, and take your warrior one. You're going to exhale here. We're going to take a breath in, opening the front body. And as you exhale, taking the leaning warrior, with the hands behind the back of the heart. So the elbows are bent, elbows are forward and lifting up. We got this great lean. Let's breathe in, taking the arms long, letting the gaze come forward or even up. As you exhale, you're taking it to humble. So friends, your humble might be a beautiful bow. Your humble might be with those hands reaching back. Some will bring their ribs to their thighs. Some will bring their shoulder to the top of that right knee. Some are going to snuggle that right shoulder in, and they're going to start to bring their gaze down. They're going to bring their head down. Some are going to choose to bind their hands and let themselves take those arms up and over the head. So wherever your waterfall, humble warrior is, feel free to go there. Finding the next breath, anchor to that outer left foot so that when we rise up, we can sweep the arms, come back into the warrior one. Right ribs back, left ribs forward. And as you're exhaling, let's return to down dog. Place your hands, spin the left heel up, stretch that right leg back, shift forward. You might hold plank. You might have brought your knees to the mat as you move through the flow of your breath. Downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Breathe in and breathe out. We're going to take that same sequence on the left side. Let's lift our left leg. The toes are down, the heel is up. The hands are gentle, arms might hug in. Feel the lifted leg higher. Let's exhale, draw that knee up into our heart. So I love this plank. It's a lot of fire. We might lift on that next breath to the side or forward, shoulders stay balanced. Exhale, knee to heart, or choose to cross it. Let's breathe in. Let that left leg go all the way up into our one-legged dog. Exhale, gaze forward. Stepping that left foot between the hands. Now you might need to help it. You might need to take that hand to the ankle, helping that knee, using your blocks to give you some lift. Lightness in the hands are gonna hug those inner thighs. And then spin the right heel down. We might find that heel to heel alignment before we rise. And that's a guideline. Let yourself exhale. So warrior one is not only a little bit of a back bend, it's a turn, it's a little bit of a twist. So the left ribs back, right ribs forward. As you're exhaling, take that leaning warrior. And we call this the spear. In Yoga-Mojo, we call this the spear. And then the breath flows. We're gonna let the arms go long, gaze come up. We call this our reaching arrow. So the leaning warrior with the arms long, take another breath. As you're exhaling, release on down, waterfall, humble warrior, where we release. And I'm asking us to hold it for a little bit. We can take some adjustments. You might notice where we are, use the hands to support us. You might float your hands back. You might look to bring your head down. So again, we're taking time in each of these poses. When you are ready, let's go ahead and release our bind if we chose it and lift our arms back up to warrior one. Let's exhale now. Feel the next breath. And then come back to down dog. Place your hands, spin the right heel up, step the left foot back, moving through the vinyasa of your choice to take you back to down dog. Once we're here, let's feel the breath flow in and feel the breath as it flows out. Repeating in the Mojo method, we repeat that sequence pose to pose and breath to breath. Let's begin. Right leg lifts, rest as you need. Knee to heart, exhale. Breathe in, knee to the side. Breathe out, center or cross. Breathe in, right leg goes up. Breathe out, right foot sets, left heel anchors. Root to rise, creating space, warrior one. The little lean with the hands behind the heart. The reach as we feel the breath. The exhale to humble, to waterfall. We rise back up on the breath, inhale. And moving on into a new series of poses, a second sequence, warrior two. Now I've just laid in the stride, shifted my left foot back and even shuffled my right foot in a little bit to be more heel to mid arch. The arms are expanding, the gaze going past the fingers. We'll feel the breath and come a little deeper. Let's turn that right palm and move into reverse warrior. Breathe in. Now Lakshmi is about love. And in the story, there's so many different poses that are referenced. Feel the breath. Stretch it as you're exhaling, side angle. So the front body, the side body, the second series works in this point, the space of our side, the Parshva Utthita, so extended. So friends, if you have a deeper one, hand to the block, hand to the earth. Then I'm going to ask us to move into triangle. So when we come into that breath, I'm going to bring my hand through the heart space of Lakshmi, stretch the right leg, feel how the left shoulder comes back, right bicep's going to roll forward, and up goes that left arm. Now, as you're here in this space, this might be really intense. Hand to block. You can totally come up. Give a gentle bend here, and we're not hyperextending. And then we've taken that space. I'm going to turn that left palm and take that arm over the head, coming into the range of that shoulder. Now, windmill the arm down and up if that's more preferable. So when you're ready, on the inhale, reverse triangle. Up comes that left arm. We root down into the feet. Try to shift the hips a little to the right if we've taken them way back. And I'm going to take that left hand behind me today. So that left hand isn't being used, but we're getting a beautiful stretch now. Breathe. Try to pull your heels in. And when you're exhaling, warrior two, you're going to come back and come into that space. Nice. Let's turn our palms and add on to the second sequence. It'll take us into that mountain pose. And even in the story, Mount Meru is the mountain. He's a churning apparatus, like the churning stick. I've got my palms up. They can be separated. Toes are pointed out. Heels are in. Because when we move into the goddess of Lakshmi, we're going to bring our hands to our heart. And here it is, that beautiful Padma Mudra. Now let's hold this space for a moment. Feel the breath. Observe the structure of the pose. It is Utkara Kona, the goddess, which is the fierce angles, Ut, intense. Kata and Kona, fierce, Kona, the angle. We've got the toes and the knees in that same plane. Got the heart lifted, drawing the low belly in to keep length into that low back. And we have our beautiful lotus, the Padma. The breath flows in, the breath flows out. And we take that love from the heart. We lift it up, we reach it up. And on the exhale, we're gonna sweep to the right. Fine, you have a cat at home joining you. We're gonna sweep this right arm up. Breathing in, and exhale, sweep that left arm down and across. Nice, we're gonna bring up that left arm. And on the exhale, yep, here we go deeper. And we bring in the tusks of the boar, bring in the space. Then we'll inhale, let the arms go up. And you would think, Loretta's gonna lengthen my legs, but not yet. We're gonna exhale, yep, see if we can come deeper, bring it all back in, maybe even bow. Let's follow it. Lengthening the legs now. It's like this great surge of energy kind of flows up from the feet all the way to the fingertips. And I want you to find more space. I want you to be challenged. Maybe you lift your heels. So find a drishti point. Find a spot for your focus. Breathe. Maybe release the right heel and lift it up. Release the left and lift it up. Breathe. Feel the breath. And as you're exhaling, spin your right toes to the right, left heel to the left, and come into warrior two. So beautiful. The gaze is over the right fingers. Our breath is flowing in. We're going to come a little deeper. We're going to take what we call the mojo turn, which is the release of that left arm, and you can even release the right. We're going to shift into ace forward. I'm going to shorten the stride, turn my left toes more forward, shuffle the right foot, and find warrior one. On the home stretch here, we're going to exhale, release our arms back, and then spin that left heel up. And the pauses between the breath are these little kumbhak, these little pauses. It's a great moment to kind of pause here. We're going to move into a balance, and it's going to be warrior three. So options are great, many options. We might walk our hands forward, bending our right knee, taking 2 blocks. We might lengthen the left leg back. One hand might come to the heart as the gaze comes forward. Left hand might come to the heart as the gaze comes forward. So friends, home, we're going to take those arms long. As you exhale, we'll all take the hands behind our upper back and bend our right knee. Then we can fly. Open your arms, inhale. Now any of those motions can challenge our focus and our balance, so breathe. As you exhale, gaze down. And in 5, bring the hands to the mat. 4, bend the right knee. 3, 2, 1. Hands come down. Foot comes down. We can move the hips and rise up. Inhale all the way up towards the sky. Let's bring our hands to our hearts. Come back into the mountain pose. Reconnect with your breath. Observe the energy. And we're going to take that same sequence on the left side. So as we come to the mat, let's circle the arms, chair pose. Inhale. We'll move with breath. Exhaling, forward fold. Half fold. Inhale. Chaturanga Danda. And that's a cue to go through high plank, low plank. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Feel a breath way. But know that vinyasa can be taken any way that really works for you. Let's repeat the first sequence. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, knee to heart. Inhale, a little lift to the side. Exhale, a little bringing it back. Inhaling the left leg up. Exhale, gaze forward, step your left foot. Release your right. We'll rise up to warrior one, taking our time. Exhaling a breath, hinging. Inhale, reaching arrow. Exhale, love the waterfall, head below the heart. Inhaling back into warrior one. And on your exhale, spin it open to warrior two. So again, this movement of lightness in the feet, shuffling, that shifting. Now we're checking that that knee hasn't collapsed in. When the hips are tight, often that knee can collapse in. Hug it all in. And let's reverse it. Inhale, up and over. First time in the space on the left side, we're gonna pause. You might even take that hand back. We're gonna feel the breath. And on the exhale, side angle. Uttita, extended side angle. The name of Parshvakona. So we've got this intense space. Outer left hip is hugging in. My friends who are going deeper have come down here. And then to move into the beautiful triangle, feel a moment where you start to lengthen that left leg. Right hand can come to the heart, to the shoulder, kind of open up, bringing that heart more forward, shoulders back, and extending the arm. But this might be too intense, so feel free to come up or use that block. On an exhale, that right arm is coming over the head. And imagine the windmill option. For the range of motion of our shoulders, sometimes it's nicer to windmill it down and then kind of roll the right ribs up and back. Let's go ahead and take a moment and come all the way up. So I'm going to contract the right side, root into the feet, sweep it up, right hand floating down, maybe even behind. Think of those left fingers reaching a little more towards the right. And then as you exhale, warrior two. We're going to turn to the mountain. Let's feel a breath. Inhale. Now the heels come in, toes are out. Exhale. You release it on down. We're going to move with breath. Inhale. Up we go. But it's the left side that might start. Shift. And we breathe it in. And we breathe it out. And we'll breathe in. We'll come deeper, bending the elbows, hands behind the heart, chin to chest. And then rise up, reach up. We're going to move to two. Spin the heel, turn the toes, warrior two. Another breath flows in. The breath flows out. We're going to turn to one, the mojo turn. Lift, shift, and reach. As you exhale, reach back. Spin the right heel up, reach your arms back. Find your drishti point. Step into that left leg. Maybe use your hands to the earth. A gentle bend in that left knee, maybe a lift of the right. Arms can be here, hands to heart, arms long, breathe. When we bend or elect to bend that left knee and bring the hands behind our heart, we feel a space. We can then open, stretching that left leg, reaching through the right heel. And on the exhale, gaze down. In 5, we're going to bring our hands. 4, I'm going to ask you to bend. 3, 2, 1. Place your hands, place your foot. Let's fold and give ourselves a breath to rise up. Inhale. Uttita Hasta, upward hands. Extended hands, and then hands to the heart. Close your eyes. Give yourself a moment to breathe. Find the pose of Tadasana. Find the breath connection of your prana. Resurface your intention for the practice. Shreem is the bija sound of Lakshmi, the energy of this love. And love always wins. Energy flows in, energy flows out. And there's a sense in this practice of community. And here we have our virtual community practicing together in multiple continents as we have friends join us from far and near. And pause. We've taken our body into these forms. And now to take this sequence again, to move through the entire vinyasa sequence, pose to pose and breath to breath, mindfully, with awareness of the energy, pausing if we might like, resting in the pose of the child if we'd like, or following the rhythm of your breath. Letting go of how the pose looks or how you think it needs to be, and giving yourself the freedom to let yourself feel it. Let's open our eyes to breathe in. Release our hands in the mudra of Anjali as we breathe out and work our vinyasa again. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half fold. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana, our cue form. Inhale, following the vinyasa of your choice. Exhale, right leg lifts, inhale. Knee to heart, breathe out. Feel the breath as you lift the knee. Release the breath as you bring it back across. Breathe in, up to the splits with our right. Exhale, setting that right, releasing the left. Inhaling to warrior one. Exhaling that lean. Breathe in to reach. Breathe out to surrender, to let go. Breathe in to come back. And breathe out, warrior two. Reversing. Inhale, up and over. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, triangle. Exhale, Utthita. Beautiful. Inhale, up and over, Surya, the reverse triangle. And exhale, warrior two. Mountain turn. Inhale, like Mount Meru. And exhale, the goddess, the lotus, the Padma of energy. With the love we lift from our hearts, we reach up. And exhale, sweep it to the right. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Behind the heart, breathe out. Breathe in, let the arms go long. Breathe out, bring it back in. Let's rise up, inhale, reach up, lifting, spinning, toes forward, heel back, warrior two. The mojo turn, inhale, warrior one. Exhale, reach back, arrow. Inhale, step, warrior three. Exhale, bend, elbows, knee. Inhale, fly, lengthen, expand. And exhale, set your hands, blocks to the floor, foot next to foot, and fold. Let's rise to chair. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Half fold, inhale. Exhale, high plank, low plank, chaturanga dana. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left leg, inhale. Knee to heart, exhale. Knee to side, breathe in. Knee comes in and crosses, breathe out. Use the breath, inhale, lift. Gaze forward, less cues, set it, release it, and rise. Inhale, Virabhadra. Exhale. Reaching arrow, inhale. Humble or waterfall, exhale. Breathe in, warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. Viparita, inhale, reverse it. Exhale, side angle, Utthita. Inhale, Trikonasana. Exhale, Utthita Trikonasana. Inhale, Surya, the sun, this great reach to the sky. And exhale, back to two. Turning to that mountain. Inhale, heels in. Exhale, the goddess. Inhale, the lifting goddess. Exhale, sweep. Let the breath be. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. On extra breath there. Inhale, rise. Lift your heels, spin. Left toes forward, right heel back, warrior two. Let's turn to one. Shifting energy, breath in. As you exhale, lift that right heel, balance your hips. Warrior three, any variation. Exhale, bend a knee, hands, hands, hands. Inhale, open to fly, breathe. Exhale, hands to mat, foot to mat, fold. We're gonna rise to chair, inhale, because it is our 1-2. Body is strong, the body is, that breath is flowing. Let's exhale, forward fold. Fold. One more chaturanga. Let's take it through a sequence. Knees or long legs. Inhaling. Exhaling. Smooth breath in, everyone. We've arrived in downward dog in our sequence. Take another breath. And then shift your hearts forward. Bend your knees. And slide the toes in slightly. Hips rocking back. Child's pose. You're gonna find a child's pose that really supports you. If you feel anything happening in the hips or the knees, you might take a little bit of a blanket or a cloth. You might say, I'm gonna use the block under my head. But give yourself time to pause. Give yourself time to find the pose of your child and allow yourself to rest for a moment. In the telling of the churning of the ocean, there are so many metaphors. It is a time when the world got disrupted. As I said, it got very dark. And every god and goddess and even the demons lost their powers. And it's a sense of community. It's a sense of rooting from the heart, working and moving from the heart, and working together. Breath blows in, breath blows out. Let the heartbeat start to slow down. Looking to control the rhythm of your breath, even as you're letting everything release. Now you may have taken your hands back in the pose of the child with the fingers pointing back, the palms up, the shoulders resting. And you may have kept your arms forward. You might have taken your hands beneath your forehead. So I'm going to ask for us all to come into the pose of Utthita Bala, the extension of the child. So we take the arms forward, hands might be shoulder width or slightly wider apart. Let's engage the core here. Notice the shift in the back. And press your hands gently down and forward, hugging the upper arms in, and then releasing the heart. I've lifted my forearms off the mat, even as the palms stay grounded. This way, when I lift the gaze, we can rise up. Inhale, there's a lightness to return the hands beneath the shoulders. And take a moment, curl your toes under to work into the pose of the dolphin. We're gonna take our forearms down here, bring our palms towards each other as a variation. Well, some students like to even interlace their hands. These are all great options. But we're gonna move into dolphin, which is our forearm space. So let's lift our hips, release our heart, and the same action, the head coming in toward that space, and the heels start to make their way down towards the mat. It's a really intense stretch, and it feels awesome for the shoulders. Breathe. Our gaze will come forward, we'll shift forward, bring our knees to the mat, and then take our hands once more back underneath our shoulders. I'm gonna ask us to come to down dog and move from down dog to dolphin. We'll lift our hips, exhale, downward facing dog. So here we are in our Adho Mukha Svanasana. And to move into dolphin from here, or a variation, is to bring the right forearm down and then the left forearm down, which can be really intense. And then we can press those hands and lift the left and the right up, or then opposite. Place the one forearm, then the other, and come up, stretch them long. So if you're finding that space and the shoulders feel good, you're gonna hug everything in, release the forearms. 1, stretch the arms long. Release the forearms. 2, stretch the arms long. Release the forearms. 3, nice. Stretch the arms long and release the heart. Let's gaze forward, bend our knees, step, jump, low cup, walk our feet to the top of the mat. And as we arrive, forward fold, hand to opposite elbow. Maybe you sweep a little bit, maybe you massage those triceps, back of your arms. And we can come back into the space. Prepare for a half fold. Nice long spine, inhale. And let the breath go as you hold, keeping the core strong. We're gonna rise up, inhale. Circle your arms. We were in an inversion for some time, so I want to bring the hand above the heart slowly. Exhale, and bring our hands back down to the heart space. And we come back to where we began in our mountain. So awesome sequencing. I hope you've enjoyed that space. I'm going to ask us to move into the pose of the year, a little bit of hip action. So pose of the year, for those that are new, is the pose of the tree, Vrikshasana. We'll place our left foot, and we'll find the beautiful bend of our right knee. Coming lighter on the toes, and then slowly, as you find your drishti point, that gaze, that focused attention, you might open your right knee. You might bring the toes down at any time. You might slide the foot to the shin. As you take a form of the tree, we can bring that foot up a little higher. The hips and the knees can support that. Hug the outer left hip in. Hands to your heart. Breathe. Holding the pose of Vriksha requires our focus and our steadiness. We have 26, some have 27 bones in that left foot supporting us. If you would like, let yourself grow your tree. Come in and out of it at any time. We can bring our hands back to our heart. We might shift that right foot over the thigh or over the shin and try to bend that standing leg. So finding this movement, kind of move and shift, using the deepest layer of our abdominal muscles to find our focus. Breathe. Some friends can come a little deeper. Some might even bring their hands to the earth. I'm keeping that right foot flexed. That'll help stabilize the knee. And then using that energy, rise back up, circle your arms. We'll bring the hands to the heart, bring our knee up, extend that right leg, and slowly release our right foot down. So nice. You can shift your hips, bending the knees, and let's kick it to the other side. Stepping into that right foot. I'm gonna ask our left knee to come up. And as we hold this space, know that this is a beautiful form of the tree right here. This is a great space. Some might say, I'm gonna just work on taking that knee out, trying to keep the hips very level and forward. Then we might say, okay, I'm gonna bring my toes down, find my drishti, maybe slide my foot to the shin. So if you're finding your tree wherever it might be, I love that sense of midline, where you press that left foot to the standing leg is pressing into the foot. Energy is coming from the heel of our foot to the crown of our head. The core is strong, helping us to stabilize. The arms might go up. This great space of our Vriksha, our tree. Energy in, energy out. If you'd like to go a little deeper or change a little shift that left foot across the thigh. Finding that movement. If it is there and you want to feel a little bit of a shift of energy, you might challenge your balance, bending. While the booty's going back, that knee is coming into a nice flexion. You might gaze down, fingers to the floor, lengthen the leg, get places to play. Coming up, I like to bring the hands to the heart, recentering, lengthening, shifting that energy. And then exhale the breath, let the arms float down. Bring that left knee up, maybe extend the left leg long, and slowly bring that foot to the mat. Awesome. So I mentioned a pose we don't see very often, Varahasana, the boar pose. And I don't know if that's because no one wants to say the word boar, the form of a pig with tusks, but it's a great pose of balance as well. And the sequence prepared us for it. It's more of a yogi toe squat. Now, some will find yogi toe squat to be more comfortable with the feet and the knees in alignment with the hips. I like to bring the toes in a little closer. That way I can hug my inner thighs. So I'm going to turn and I'm going to bend my knees and come into a yogi toe squat. Now, if this is really intense with the knees, or particularly the soles of the feet, perfect time to grab a towel or something that can support you and you can kind of rest your heels. If it is there for you, those knees are going to come forward as the heart comes up. And here's that sense of squeezing into the midline again. Finding your drishti, and yep, the arms go up. In Varahasana, the board pose, we create the tusks. We take the hands behind us. So hopefully, this is feeling really aware that you can find that space. Bring the low ribs in, lift up the crown of the head. And then slowly bring your hands back to your heart. Now, to come down, some of us are going to bring our hands to the mat or to the blocks, the lift the floor. Some of us are going to bring our heels down. But again, we never force anything in the practice of yoga. Letting yourself feel the space. And anatomically, this pose is not available to everybody. Let's release, come all the way down, depending upon the structure of their bones, depending upon the structure of their hips. So give yourself time to come down with ease and hopefully not collapse. I'm going to go ahead and extend my legs long, coming into the pose of Danda, and then circling the arms, reaching up to the sky. We'll lift and we'll hinge. Moving into Paschimottanasana, heart forward, and check in here, check in. Another place where we don't want to force, particularly to pull the three hamstrings in each leg, right? They begin here at the sit bones at their origination, and they float behind, they wrap around the knees. So a gentle bend in the knees can alleviate some of the stress, of course, but we often find ourselves feeling a sensation more in one spot or the other. So be kind. If a strap is there, or you would love to use a strap, I love the straps. Because this way, so important is to keep that front body as long as the back body. Rather than flexing the spine and rounding, allow you to sit tall and think of the heart up, even as you're coming forward. Now the feet can be together, feet can be hip width. Allow yourself a moment. And then choose to let it go a little or to activate, pressing the leg bones down. Every day is different. Every practice is different. Let's rise up. Let's rise up. I'm going to ask us to move into a wide angle space. So finding space between the heels, coming into our wide angle. Because in the story of Lakshmi, in the churning of the ocean story, Vishnu, who reincarnates as that boar, not in this story, but Vishnu actually reincarnates as a turtle, a tortoise, and he holds the world on top of him as everybody churns the ocean of milk. So finding this nice wide angle space is a great prep for the tortoise, Karmasana. So how we get there? We might go, let's go ahead and bend the knees, because this will alleviate some of the pull. And then take our hands here. And moving those hands underneath the thighs, underneath the knees, can be exactly a great stretch, because you can hug the inner thighs in. For those who'd like to go a little further, we start to walk our hands out. And the heart stays up even as we're hinging on the hips to come forward. Now we're walking the hands a little bit more. We can go, okay, that feels good. But at some point, the legs go long. So we can lift our toes. We can start to stretch the legs and release our heart. So there's many variations. Ultimately, the feet come in a little bit and we can release. But again, just notice how it feels, where you're feeling any of the sensations of coming into a form that is a little different. Awesome. Take your time, wherever that might be. Then we gracefully come out of it. Take our time, come on out of it. Nice. And I'm gonna turn. We're gonna take our boat ride down towards the mat so we can make our descent, start our descent. So here we are. We're gonna find ourselves towards the front of the sits bones, towards the back of the sits bones, but not collapsing in that low spine. And as we prepare for Navasana, the boat, we got the toes on the mat. My hands are gonna hold onto my thighs for a moment and just kind of test it out. Just how that right leg feels going long. And bend it. And see how about that left leg. And go bending it. And then maybe hug it in and lift the toes. Now everything starts to hug in. The extension of the legs asks the hamstrings to compete with the core muscles and the hip flexors. So here we have the boat moving to the half boat. Then we can bring up the boat and move to our half boat. Know your hands can be totally supporting you. Wherever you might be, breathe. Nice. Holding the space. Take a little twist. I'm going to come a little deeper and take a little twist. And here's two. Little twist. And this movement from side to side is asking those internal and external obliques to turn our ribs. Awesome. Take a breath. And let's slowly release them down, bringing our knees into our hearts. And releasing our head. Ah, feel good because you've taken the space. You've had this practice thus far. We're going to take some nice stretches. Let's release the left foot down. I'm going to take my strap and extend that right leg up. Now, if you have a strap, we'll take the strap around the right foot. If you don't have a strap, no worries. You're going to hold that right leg. You're going to root into that left foot for a moment and then see how it feels to bring this right leg over closer to us. So moving in a way that allows you to stretch with ease. And as you're rooting into your left foot, lift your hips a little bit and notice the freedom of this right leg. And then wherever you might hold it, start to release your low spine, nice and gently. Releasing. Awesome. Release the tension in this right leg. And extend your left leg forward, letting that heel touch down. Think of the heel coming more forward, thigh bone coming down, and then draw this right leg a little closer again. Wherever this right leg might go for you. And as you're holding this right leg, let's give our left leg a little lift and then pulse it a little bit. I place my left hand right here in my hip flexor. We can feel this awareness of the movement of the muscles here. And pause. And let's release that left leg. Take your heart up to the sky, feeling an exhale to bring us up. Hold, breathe. Let's release and take a breath in. Let's bring the left foot up into the right. And then release the right foot down. You're gonna stretch through this left leg. Now you can take this stretch in any way that you would like. Just finding that energy, finding that stretch. I've asked us to root down into that right foot, even hug the right knee in a little bit. Then lift up your hips a little and kind of notice the freedom you might have in this leg. And then as you're releasing a breath, start to release the low back down. Strengthen that space. That was awesome. Take another breath. Release the tension. That'll give a little freedom to let this right leg go long. As this right leg goes along, we can feel the breath and draw this left leg a little closer to us. Again, never forcing, just getting a nice stretch. We warm the body through the vinyasa, of course. We've got these nice long muscles. Then we're going to find that right heel, try to reach a little more forward and bring up this right leg. Maybe hold. Think of the toes of the right foot up, the heel down. Kind of pulse it a little bit. I'm going to place that right leg back down. Chest to the sky, gaze to the sky. Inhale. Try not to use the strap too much to hold you up. Feel that breath. And slowly release it on down. Nice. We're going to bring this right foot in with that left. Feel another breath in and then make a circle, like a little bitty circle. And if you'd like a little more, again, you're not using the strap necessarily. You might say, oh, I'm going to make a bigger circle. Kind of massage the low back and that space. And then go the other way. Feel that big circle. Move into a smaller circle. And then refine, move up like a little bitty. Pause. Let's bend our knees. Strap's going to go off to the side. We're going to have a moment to bring our knees back into our heart. And then from the space, a moving bridge, 3 breaths of the moving bridge. Our palms will come down, the heart will lift and open. Inhale, lift your hips, lift your arms. And exhale. Now options, take a block between those thighs. Root into the heels, inhale, lift the hips. Think of hugging the block or hugging the inner thighs. And lower it on down. Here's number 3. We root to the heels, we lift the hips, reach up. Nice. Release your hips. Take the arms by the sides in the cactus shape for a moment. And as you're holding this cactus shape, let's bring our knees up into our hearts. Reach our arms now to the heels, sides, happy baby. Let's rock from side to side to massage that back. As you're taking happy baby, you might feel the soles of the feet come in. Find an awareness of the Baddha Konasana supine. And then we'll slowly start to bring those knees back in towards center. Open your arms into a beautiful T if you have space. Roll the scapula under. Knees will come up. Knees are going to float to the right, close to the elbow. Now adjust the hips forward or back a little to allow your head to turn with ease and to feel space here for a full breath. We'll let it go. Our knees are going to come back up into our heart space. We're going to hug those knees. Pause. Draw the knees in higher, releasing that low spine and letting those knees look over towards the opposite space of the elbow and the knees. And oh, there goes the turn of the head. Back shoulders resting. Gaze is soft. Again, adjust your hips. And you use the block between those thighs again if you're feeling too much in your hips. We're going to come on back, everybody. Let's inhale those knees to center. Wrap our arms around the legs. A lift of a lifted up on Uttanasana. Oh, here we go with a great hug and squeeze. And we're going to slowly release our shoulders, our neck. Release our feet on down. And then check in. Before we move into Shavasana, if there's any pose that you'd like or other movements, feel free to go there. If you'd like to set up your Shavasana, you might be extending your legs already. You might say, let me grab my bolster, particularly if you're feeling anything in your low back, because there can be compression that happens when the legs go long. So taking a nice little bend can alleviate some of that tension or tightness if you happen to feel it. If not, the legs can go long, the feet can go wide. If you have a blanket or a cover, I encourage you to grab that as well. Letting yourself find a space where you can rest your entire physical body, where you can let go. You can close your eyes and come to the breath. Breathing in and breathing out. To come back into that quiet space that we connected with at the start of our practice, this time in the pose of Shavasana. Reconnect with your rhythm of your breath. Can you begin to slow it down? So that next breath comes in more deeply, perhaps, and the chest rises with that energy. We let the breath go and we can let it soften. The chest releases, the belly softens, the legs might get heavy, and feel a breath. And as you're resting in your space of Shavasana, quieting the mind, releasing the body, the breath flows in and the breath flows out. In the space of Shavasana, a moment to take your mind to the story of Lakshmi. As you're resting, stay with the breath and let yourself go deeper. It is a story that happened once upon a time, a long, long time ago, and not so long ago. It's the stories happen today just as they did thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, and they happen within us. It is a story that begins with a wise sage known as Durvasis. Now, Durvasis lived alone. He was considered pretty much a hermit, and he was very grouchy. He didn't show laughter or joy very often. So one day, a beautiful day like today, he was seen by these celestial nymphs coming down the path of a forest. And in this forest, it was beautiful. The trees were green, the birds were singing, there was a beautiful breeze that touched his face. Durvasis was smiling, even humming to himself. And the celestial nymphs were like, I can't believe that's Durvasis. He's usually so grumpy. And they were so pleased. They said, let's bring him more joy. Let's give him a little gift. So they brought together these beautiful lotus flowers that are always fragrant. They never fade. They're magical. And they weaved them together into a beautiful garland. And the little nymphs flew to the earth and they placed this garland of always fragrant, never fading flowers around his neck. Durvasis was so happy. He said, oh, what a beautiful gift. It made him happy. The fragrance was so intoxicating. And he thought to himself, I will give this gift to the next person I see so they too can share in this joy. And who should come down the path of the forest? Riding a huge elephant with an army of men behind him. Lord Indra himself, the generalissimo of all the gods and the goddesses of the heavens, the protector. Now, Lord Indra is very masculine. He's very strong, he's very powerful. And when he sees this old man walking down the path. He almost didn't stop, but he sees him raise his hand. He said, Lord Indra, I wish to give you this beautiful gift that I received. It's a beautiful garland. And he lifted it off of his neck. And Lord Indra was thinking, oh my goodness, but he leaned down from the elephant and allowed Durvasis to put the garland around his neck. And they stood back tall in that space, seated on his elephant. You could smell the fragrance. You know, Lord Indra has a bit of an ego. And he goes, I don't need to see my men seeing me with this garland of flowers. And as Durvasis passed him, Indra lifted the garland off of his neck and he threw it into the sky, discarding it. But Indra's elephant had had just a sniff of the garland. And he took his trunk up into the sky. And before that garland could hit the earth, he grabbed it. And he started to swirl the garland. And the fragrance was just wafting over everyone. And it made the elephant so happy. He got drunk, intoxicated on this unbelievable fragrance, and he started to dance. He brought the joy in the form of movement. He started to dance. And as he danced, his trunk released the garland. The garland fell beneath his feet and was trampled. And Durvasis saw this, for he had turned. He had turned to take one more look at Lord Indra with the beautiful garland. He felt a rage grow within him, a fury. He comes running back to Lord Indra and he said, a gift that was given, a gift that you discarded so easily. For this I curse you, and I curse all of your kingdom, all the gods, the goddesses, and the demons. In that moment, the world kind of trembled. And the sun began to grow dark. The flowers that had bloomed began to wilt. The trees began to leave their leaves, and it became dark. And it's a metaphor. It's a space that sometimes we drift in and out, the highs and the lows. And it was a time when the world got dark, but it was also a time when everyone had to come together. Everyone lost the joy and their happiness, their power. The gods, the goddesses, the demons as well. And they went to Vishnu, the energy, the God of maintaining the world, of sustenance and energy. And he said, we must work together. We must all come together as one. We must churn the ocean of milk and try to bring forth the energy of Lakshmi, of joy. And Vishnu transformed himself into a turtle, and he held the world and the ocean of milk on his back. He asked Mount Meru, the wonderful mountain, to be the churning stick, and he asked his faithful friend Vasuki, the serpent, to be the rope that they could churn the mountain and the ocean of milk. And he asked all the gods and the goddesses and the demons as well, the friends that we don't even like so much. And he said, we must work together, everyone. And so they all came together and they churned the ocean of milk. And as they churn the ocean of milk, that milk is our mind. Our mind drifts from one thing to the next, or it goes down on a thought and it comes back. The mountain is our body, and the practice how we move, we build strength, we feel sensations. And as they churned, as they worked together, they got tired. And some supported the other. They got angry, but there was someone of calm voice and reason. They churned the ocean of milk, and they watched as these wonderful things began to surface. Little glimmers of light, little hope. The Kalpa Vriksha, the gift-giving tree surfaced. And Kamadev, the beautiful wish-fulfilling cow surfaced. The beautiful jewel, the kastub that Vishnu wears on his chest surfaced. And ultimately, there was this beautiful sound of Om. And everyone watched as up from the depths of the ocean of milk, from the churning of the ocean, arose a beautiful lotus. Feel your breath flow in. Let your breath flow out. And there, as the lotus unfurled, was Lakshmi, the goddess of love and prosperity and abundance, bestowing boons, bestowing gifts. 2 elephants pouring water down, purifying, as the practices purify us. And the world watched as the sun began to glow bright again. And the flowers began to rebloom, the trees grew taller, and their leaves grew green. And as a reminder that we get through the dark times, we find the love. We find at the root of everything, love, because love always wins. Everyone comes together. Breaths flow in. Breaths flow out. Om Shri Maha Lakshmi Namaha. Breaths in and breaths out. Shavasana. The energy flows in and the energy flows out. And through the practice, we churn the physical body, connected with the mind and the breath. And in the space of Shavasana, we rest, calm. We find the stillness and the quiet. Let's take a breath in. And as you let it go, begin to move your fingers, awakening your hands. Feel a breath and send the energy down into your toes of your feet and allow your toes to begin to move and to awaken the feet. And the breath will flow in, the arms will lift up towards the sky. And we'll gently reach those arms over our head, behind us, to take a beautiful stretch. And feel a breath. Slowly begin to walk your feet in a little, bending your knees. Let those arms lift up and capture your legs into a beautiful bind that allows you then to rock from side to side. Hands might capture beneath your knees or behind your thighs, and you might rock from side to side. And slowly roll to your right side and pause. Be with the breath. Let your intentions resurface, your own sankalpas. And our left hand will come to the mat. Give yourself a gentle press and come back into a sukhasana. Come back into an easy seated pose. Again, one that supports you. And as you arrive in your sukhasana, we'll sit tall. You might have your eyes closed, your hands come to the heart, and we share this collective breath. Let's breathe in and breathe out. And we close our practice together with Saraswati. Our hands come to the forehead. May our thoughts be good thoughts, kind thoughts, and mindful thoughts. We bring our hands towards the lips for the words we speak. Oh, may those words be rooted in love. May those words be kind and compassionate. The ones we say out loud, the ones we say to ourselves. And the hands come back here to the heart space. Om Shri Maha Lakshmi Namaha. Let ourselves have our intentions rooted in love as well. Always, always acting the very best of our intentions. Thank you all so much for our practice. Namaste. Thank you all for joining me in this practice, and practice that was rooted in awareness of love, of Lakshmi. And I thank you